Well, then it's the Business Live, Africa Social TV Live. Yes, it's been a minute since I went political on this platform of social media or YouTube on this very channel. Now, I've been watching a video right here on MTV, and yeah, the program was MTV Jams, and this particular video ended with "You can't buy freedom." Why am I talking about this? Uganda is a country located in East Africa, and its capital is Kampala. Uganda has a population of about 42 million people. It has had various elections with a president that has ruled for a couple of decades. I mean, he calls us his grandchildren. It sounds sweet, but he has a reason why. It's because he knows he has ruled for a couple of years, obviously, and a couple of decades. Now, this particular title might be kind of offensive to the Fountain of Honor, and I ask you to share it just in case you watch this video. It's not until you leave Uganda and go somewhere and you expose your mind to another country, that's when you know how country Uganda is kinda wrecked. I've been thinking since morning right here, and I'm like, okay, this guy, you can't beat him on the ballot paper, just a piece of paper. That is the president. But they say there is democracy in Uganda, and I don't think he can allow to be won by now the opponent that is aggressive, that is the one musician Bobby Wine. Well, why am I saying so? When I look around, when I do my research as a journalist, I feel the only weapon Ugandans do have is information. Now, after President Museveni realizes that the only weapon Ugandans do have is information, at least a certain percentage of elites in Uganda do own smartphones. They have bought these gadgets, and what do they use them for? The smart guys like at Africa Social TV, the smart guys like Rokan Media, the smart guys, all those internet bloggers like Peng Peng, okay, may not be in Uganda and he's out there. He's using his gadgets very well. Picture the scene if all Ugandans use their gadgets to air out what's hurting them on a daily. Yeah? First and foremost, President Museveni keeps the young people's mind intact. What do I mean? When you're in Uganda, your mind is a little bit covered. You can't know, not until you get down to do research, or not until you get that chance to get out of Uganda and your mind gets exposed. When you go out there to other countries that are developed, what pisses me off is you find certain things that can be done in Uganda. And these particular developed countries have ministers, state ministers, cabinet ministers who travel at least monthly on taxpayers' money. On taxpayers' money. You can affirm this, on taxpayers' money. They get down to hire hotels, to book these expensive hotels on taxpayers' money. Now the question is, don't they really copy anything in these developed countries and they take it back home? That is a question for you. Getting down to my statement, how the president and his entourage have wrecked Uganda's media. Here's one point. Let's talk about the social media tax. Museveni realizes that there are a lot of internet bloggers who are hurling out information, and information that is real, information that can be seen by even an 8-year-old or a 6-year-old living in Uganda. or out there, or it might not be exposed. You know what I'm saying? This information gets on the internet. He's trying to block it. And this is what he's gonna do. Whichever internet blogger that is out there in Uganda and you're trying to make your business online, YouTube, don't you forget that this guy is trying to put the information, or is trying to block the information to get out there to the people, because he knows the only power Ugandans have is information. Unless otherwise, I'm thinking if the president had the power to block these smartphones before they penetrated into Uganda, he would have. But right now, this is what he's going to do before 2021. I'll give you my facts. I remember in August 25th last year, there was a meeting of the security operatives that was led by the ones command of UPDF, or call him the CDF. Yeah, the CDF, that is General David Muhoozi. There was Prisoners Commissioner, that is Johnson Babashaija. There was also the IGP, Okot Ochola. These guys held a meeting and warned all internet bloggers. If anyone watched that news, if you did not know what the government was against or what it was after. Now, if you're an internet blogger right there, let me teach you one thing. You are living in a country, that is Uganda, where the government controls the media. Ask me how. All the major media stations are controlled at Signet. Signet can get authority from UCC or one call away from the State House to just switch off one TV station. And that would be information gone. They would have blocked them from hurling out any information. If you're an internet blogger out there, this is how they can block your information. First and foremost, how they can get you. If you've heard of one thing called IP addresses, whenever you post something online, they can tell where it has been posted from, and at least they can find your area. All these numbers, all the internet users, for example, the numbers that we do use in Uganda, don't you forget they are registered. And if your number is not registered, which means any bundles, call it the internet, you cannot call or you cannot use any service if your number is not registered. When you go to an MTN outlet, Airtel outlet, or telecom outlet out there selling airtime or selling a service, they hope you communicate. Obviously, they will have to ask you before you register, is your number with us? That is one thing. So if they're to get you, they're going to use the IP addresses. They're going to know who posted this. That is one thing. So the government has control over information in Uganda. And this is what Museveni is going to do before 2021. He's going to block that information slowly by slowly. He's going to get the major journalists on the major stations. If they're to make any mistake between now and 2020, next year, and they try to oppress the government, remember, as a journalist in Uganda, when you're put behind bars, you are nothing. Museveni has the power over information in Uganda. But again, the people, if they don't stand up right now in Uganda and use their smartphones wisely, for example, the smart guys in Uganda are the youth out there, and they're so obsessed with these gadgets. Just imagine if all the youth that just don't support the government or are tired of the government get onto their smartphones and just put out those tweets out there, those Facebook updates there, and at least educate at least 20 people out of your followers on your pages, yeah, on your Twitter handles, all the following that you do have, just one tweet. You don't have to uh, like expose the government or something, but you just have to try to be creative and inform your fellow friends what you've understood. Believe me, he will lose focus over this information. He will find it hard to fight it. But as per now, he's going to fight information going on the internet. The social media tax that guys are paying is one of the factors. The president said this was gossip and all, but one thing for sure, you should know that that information can take off the government. We've seen it in Libya, we've seen it in other countries in Asia. When people put out that information rapidly, it will be seen by the rest of the world, of course. The world is not stupid. The world will see. So the only fight right now to the youth in Uganda is to use their smartphones wisely. Don't go to Instagram to slay, but go to Instagram to inform. Go to Twitter to inform. Don't go to your Facebook to slay and record those videos to slay, but go out there to inform the rest of your fellow adults or young adults out there of what's happening in the country. I mean, these are things that you just have to think of, and you're like, okay, information is around me, I have a weapon around me, and that is my smartphone. However much that the guy has the IP addresses, you don't need to be so timid. Get that smartphone, just inform. I myself, man, I used to be so obsessed by the president, MUSEVENI, and all that kind of thing. But, man, I'm a grown-ass. I look at situation and I'm like, okay, this is what is supposed to be done. I wish my country was this way. The thing is, if you don't fight now, then they've already taken over the country. But I do still believe that the youth have the potential to use what they have, those gadgets, massively, and pass over information and fight for others or inform others. Pass over that information that you know. Don't keep quiet. Use your platform to educate. Let others know about that situation or what you think things are supposed to be done. Believe me, the politicians won't be able to lie to the rest of the population when they get informed. When you look at the campaigns, when you go to YouTube and look at all these Ugandan MPs campaigning in their areas, they say the same things, the same lies and all that kind of stuff. And when they get on board, nothing is done. When they get to parliament, the yellow color capsized them and they look at the money. But the issue is, right now, Museveni has wrecked Uganda's media. All the media houses are controlled by Signet. Signet is just one button away just to take off any TV that they choose. Freedom of speech has been laid down in Uganda. Internet freedom is also against human rights. These are things that if you block people from using the internet, that is you're abusing the human right. Research these things and read about them. I mean, some of the things we just let go, but when you think deep, when you read and think deep and make your research, you see that some of the things are not supposed to be happening in Uganda. Even the journalists don't know their rights in Uganda as we speak. They get intimidated and the whole script of the show changes because you've received a call from UCC. Okay, we're seeing journalists retire because of the fear of the 2021 elections, but they just don't want to say. We know these things. I mean, I've never gone so political on my platform, but some things we need to say. Let's use these platforms to air out what we're supposed to air out. For the cases of information, there is no internet freedom when you look around in Uganda. It is not there. It is not there. It is kind of blocked. 2, freedom of speech. If it was there, journalists wouldn't have been arrested, wouldn't have been tortured. I mean, their gadgets are being broken down. They're being beaten. They torture them in those cells. They just don't want to say because they fear going back. They are tortured. They are persecuted. So all the journalists in Uganda that have brand names owned to them and they have worked for their name, right now, when it reaches to elections, they try to divert their information to supporting the government instead of balancing the information because they fear to be tortured. Watch the space starting August and beyond. Every media house in Uganda, NTV, NBS, all those guys, you see them showing the developments of NRM. All of them will fear to air out what they have to air out, the truth about the ruling party. Why? Because they are controlled by the government. And that is not freedom of speech. The work ethics of the journalists in Uganda obviously are put down because we all know that when journalists go to school, they study their ethics. You're supposed to provide balanced information. You're supposed to say out the truth of the matter. You're supposed to report as things do happen, of which our government is against that. Report today, you got in tomorrow, or you're kept into the records. When you're arrested, taken out there, they will show you these things and they will let you know what you did. I mean, the other thing that I thought about, in Uganda, we are brought up as in some kind of timid factor. For example, the African style of growing up or of taming a child is by caning. When you misbehave, they cane you. Those things, as we grow up, they get to our minds. You fear your elders when you find them on the road. You're supposed to greet each and every one. It puts down your self-esteem. Now, growing with confidence is a little bit tight in the African kind of setting. So, when the government howls out statements or when the security operatives say that, you know what, we don't want this, people will shy away, they will get intimidated, and they will do as the security says or the security operatives say. We all know cyber police is on ground in Uganda. They know all the IP addresses of people, so they choose and they know who to sacrifice. So that it serves as an example. Bodies like UCC, I mean, look at Mr. Mutabazi, what he says. One order away, switched off. One order away, see the police, investigators, arresting a journalist. But I mean, what is journalism anyway if you're arresting people just like that and torturing them? I had one Solomon Seranj of NBS, arrested. Solomon Seranj cannot say what happened when he got arrested. But obviously, they have to interrogate him. And a journalist in Uganda, when you're put behind bars, you're nothing. And that is how President MUSEVENI has wrecked Uganda's media. I even pity the kids who are studying journalism right now to do it in Uganda. There isn't freedom. I see it as a total lie. He knows that information is all we got. He knows that information is all we got. And information is a key factor. It can wipe away the government. So, my worry is about 2020. And obviously this year starting August, close to 2021. Look at all the media houses. They're going to report only the good about the ruling party because they fear to be blocked, they fear to lose their jobs, they fear to be closed. So what kind of democracy is that? What kind of internet freedom is that? What kind of freedom of speech is that? It's just because I'm doing this video and I'm abroad, but I know I wouldn't get the confidence to do this video when I'm in Uganda. I'll still have to be a little bit creative. But either way, I've tried to use the platform to inform. Just imagine if all the youth out there could use their smartphones to inform the public. If they could use their gadgets to inform the public, to expose the bad deeds of the Ugandan government, I think life would have been better. Guys, get to know that information is power, information is key. When things fail, to protest on the streets of Kampala, get your gadget. Get your gadget. Go live. Put a tweet out there. Go to your pages. Report what you see. You can go live on Facebook. Don't fear. Information is the only weapon that Ugandans do have. And that is why President MUSEVENI is trying to block it. I'm not trying to politic, but these are things that you start to see when you get exposed out there. And the president and the ruling party, they try to block this kind of exposure into the people. They are smart. The guys ruling Uganda right now are smart. They are ahead. But anyone watching this video and you're watching it from Uganda, the only weapon Ugandans have is information. Information. And information is around you. Inform yourself and inform the rest. My name is Dennis the Business. Click subscribe. Africa Social TV. Peace.